What's going on, guys? This is Miasin. So this is not going to be an actual OCG metagame breakdown like I usually do with all the articles that we have on Road of the King. However, I will be covering two tournaments that we got in the OCG to try to analyze what some people are on, what are the decks that people are running, and also the spicy decks that people are playing in order to top. So before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. Check me on Twitch and Instagram, and now let's get right into it. Alrighty, so this is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Japan Championship 2022. I think this translates to kind of like NAWCQ for Japan, because I know their tournament is massive. I think they send 4 guys to Worlds or something ridiculous. But yeah, no, if you're topping the Japan tournament, then Jesus, you're actually a king, because the guys that are actually in the first, second, third, and fourth, they're always like insane players, like Shunsuke and some other people that actually top pretty much once every like 2 years or 3 years or something. Very high top rate, some of them. The first place was won by Kanamura Shu with Ishizu Tearlaments. Why am I not shocked? Now, the real shocker here is second and fourth with Draco Slayer. And you'll also be shocked to see that they basically played practically the exact same deck list. And third is Ishizu Tearlaments again, which is very, very predictable. All right, so the winning deck list is actually pretty interesting because it ran 2 continuous spells and no exchange of the spirit. And that's really what I'm trying to analyze. Are people all playing Exchange of the Spirit? Not really. People are kind of back and forth and 50-50 on it. Now, the majority of the ratios for the Ishizu cards and for the Tearlaments, people have pretty much agreed on playing 3 of every single Ishizu, but people haven't necessarily agreed on playing 3 of each of the Tearlaments. Now, this player is actually playing 3 of the Reino and 3 of the Meiru. Sometimes we see people playing 2 and 2, or 3 and 2, or 2 and 3 with, you know, Diviner of the Heralds. However, this deck list does not run Diviner of the Heralds. It also does not run Call by the Grave, which is interesting considering the fact that I think it's a pretty good card. It still negates Maxi, negates Ash, but Ash is not really scary. And it's a 2, so, you know, it's better than a 1, I guess. And the trap card that people are typically playing in Tearlaments is Salic, not Meta Noise. Salic is always a better card to mail than Meta Noise. It actually gets your stuff going by searching from the deck to the hand, whereas Meta Noise is just to recycle back from the grave to the hand. Not as good. And for the extra deck, not a single Shadow monster, so can't summon Winda, which is also another interesting thing to note here. All the fusion monsters are Tearlaments except for Dragos Tapelia, that's the only non-Tearlaments monster. And for the Xyz monsters, Dweller, Redoer, Baguska, Zeus, this is always staple, we always see that. And for the Link monsters, I want to say this is also pretty staple, so Spright, Elf, and Sprind. Sprind being able to send the Meiru in order to, you know, fuse for a Tearlaments fusion monster, well, any fusion technically. The Ossa allows you to revive back any Earth monster in your opponent's graveyard, so you can revive back Pankratops, the Shizu monsters, as well as Satrila Fenrir. And the Dark is obviously good, because, you know, your Tearlaments monsters are typically Dark, Reinoheart being the only exception, and the Shizu monsters are the Earth, so that's the reason why you can make Ossa easily. And Borlo Dragon is ridiculously good. You have to start investing in this card right now, because it is a way to out the non-targetable, non-destructible Mechanite Crusadia Avermax that is made with IP Masquerena. You just steal it, and then you keep it permanently, because it would not be destroyed since it was made with IP Masquerena. I could be wrong though. Anyways, for the side deck, Triple Sphere mode, this is also relatively staple-ish. People are kind of back and forth on staple Lava Golem, but it's always one of the two. It's not even Kaijus. No. Another card that people are typically citing is Zoo King Alpha. Very good card. And Pankratops is always there. Satrila Fenrir is usually in the main deck or nowhere at all. It's not even cited. And yeah, 3 Bisted monsters. Sometimes we also see them in the main deck. Double Ghost Reaper, which is also extremely good against Spright, because you just happen to naturally play Spright Elf, since it can revive back your Meiru or Diviner of the Heralds, so might as well play Ghost Reaper while you're at it. And then Duster, double Lightning Storm, double Call by the Grave, as well as the Meta Noise. One thing that shocks me is that there's no Omni Negate here. No Baron, because you're not playing Diviner of the Herald, so evenly matched would actually be extremely good. However, for some reason, people are now playing, you know, evenly matched anywhere in the side deck. Anyways, for Draco Slayer now. This is an extremely unorthodox deck list, and I can't believe that Luster Pendulum is still limited. But yeah, we've got a lot of cards that are being played at 3. I think Steven would disagree with pretty much everything he's seeing right now. Triple Purple Poison is something that I know Jesse Cotton despises. Even Steven hates Triple Harmonizing when you can play the card at 3. It's actually crazy, but yeah. I think some ratios might be a little too just too, I don't know, yeah, not really well thought. I mean, I can't really say that because I'm not this guy. I never really played the deck. Yeah, it just feels a little too linear, but I guess it makes sense when you're playing Luster. You always want to have like 2 copies at least so that you can destroy one and then search the other. And it's cool to be able to like pop Purple Poison, trigger its effect, destroy a Floodgate, search another Purple Poison, but if you really want to do that, might as well only play 2 Purple Poison so that you don't break too hard on it, because the card's not like a consistency card whatsoever. It only has like a real relevant effect when you're going first. Also, main deck a bunch of non-pendulum cards, which can definitely make you brick a little hard, but again, it somewhat makes sense if you're able to do things that are really impressive with only like 2 cards. Fun fact, this card, I believe, no, sorry, the Majesty Pegasus is the one that can search a field spell from your deck to your hand when it is summoned. So in other words, well, when it's special summoned or pendulum summoned, so I think you can just search like the Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Unfortunately, I do not see it anywhere in the side deck, which, I don't know, man. I think I personally would be citing Secret Village in this deck. It's really broken when you're going second. Obviously, Mystic Mine is banned, so can't really think about that. And citing 6 of the Shizu cards, the Graveyard Controllers, is interesting. I don't really know the scenario. I guess you're pendulum summoning them, you're making a rank 4, and then it's kind of like a massive DD crew on crack. So it's relatively good, right? I don't really understand the Nightmare Cerberus. The majority of the extra deck makes sense, I suppose. But this is also not the way I remember Steven was playing this deck whatsoever. I guess Electrum kind of changes everything. And this deck is also more of like it's kind of like a mix between mid-range and combo deck. So that's the reason why I can play, you know, 6 hand traps of Fairy Tale Snow, Xatri Fenrir, and Called by the Grave, which is a card we never see in Pendulums. People typically want to play more Pendulum cards so that you have more extenders instead of having less extenders, but a way to counter a hand trap. And one Dynamist charge, because it can search this one Dynamist monster, which is also really cool. It's just a good one-of, so might as well. Duelist Alliance can search Luster, this, which is the Master, etc. Skyrist can search the Odd-Eyes Revolution. I kind of forgot how to play this deck because I haven't touched Pendulums since Electrum was banned, but I know it's a really fun and cute deck. Shoutouts to Steven if you're watching this video. Alrighty, Shizu Tearlaments. This is a completely different deck list from the first one. And yeah, this was a 41 card deck list with only 2 trap cards. This one is running triple traps with absolutely no Exchange of the Spirit or Gravekeeper's Trap, which means that Mudora is worse, but at the same time, this one is only being played at 2 because he recognizes that it's not as good as in the other builds. You're going to be breaking less because you're not going to be drawing those annoying Gravekeeper's Trap and Exchange of the Spirit. More copies of Salic are being played, which I really like because you seriously capitalize off of your opponent, well, milling your own card so that you always start with like a, you know, a head start. So I really like that. This deck list was pretty well thought, and it doesn't lose to anti-spell at all. Only 5 normal spell cards, which is absolutely nothing. And yeah, still playing triple Maxi, triple the Herald of Orange Light with triple Xatri Fenrir, so that, you know, you're going second is better because you can banish cards, and even you're going first is better because it's still relevant going first. This card is just unfair, man. It's like one of the best cards ever. It's crazy. This card will see arguably more play than Dino Wrestler Pancratops. It's ridiculous. And yet, only 5 fusions. That is nothing. Imagine going D-Barrier calling fusions and being foolish enough that you believe that it'll save you. It won't save you, man. Nobody's citing D-Barrier at all. Absolutely nobody, man. Everybody can play through it. And yeah, Excite on Night instead of Time Thief for Doer. Very interesting. And Codebreaker Virus Swordsman so that you can jump over Baguska. That is also, you know, interesting. And then obviously Borolo Dragon, which is being played in every single Ishizu Tearlaments builds. And again, very easy to summon when you have Dark and Asa to revive back stuff your opponent controls. Now, the side deck, I really don't think I can agree on that. There is not a single real going first card. I guess it can be argued that Triple Tactic Talents is flexible on whether you want to play this for going first or second. but I wouldn't have triple tactic talents in my side deck. I think it's not good enough to side, and too many Bisted cards. I would try to diversify it a little more, or not run into the possibility of drawing duplicates. And also, way too many Kaiju cards, triple Slumber and 4 Kaijus. I don't know about that. It's really not like it had that much of an impact. So yeah, no trap cards for going first and kind of insta-winning. This side deck is not my cup of tea. Anyways, for Draco Slayer, I'm not even going to be covering this one because it's literally the exact same thing as the second one. The only difference is that this randomly sides one Cerberus, and this randomly sides one Steel Swarm Roach. Maybe they're trying to, like, hide information or something. Anyways, for the CCT Shangshana, which I think it was in China? Yeah, China City, exactly. 386 participants. That's basically a big regional. I believe even in Canada, we don't have that, except if you're on Toronto. Then you can actually reach upwards to 400 players. But yeah, 8 rounds of Swiss, and then top 32, and then, you know, it's the playoffs. So we have Ishizu Tearlaments, Spright, Vernalizer at Emancipator, Ishizu Tearlaments again, Spright again, Branded Tearlaments, Bisted Despia, which is an anti-meta build, very specifically to beat Tearlaments, but it's still a Tearlaments deck. And then after that, we have another Ishizu Tearlaments, and the other decks are unknown. I guess the Reporter, which is Akira, of course, man, huge shoutouts to you, was not able to get his hands on the other deck list. Alright, so Ishizu Tearlaments again. People are cutting Exchange of the Spirit and Gravekeeper's Trap, as you can see. The only trap card that is being played right now is one Salic, and no Call by the Grave either. What? This is insanity, man. Instead of that, we're seeing the one cross out, but not a lot of variety in hand traps at all. It's only Maxi and Herald of Orange Light. So, you know, the difference in mentality between the OCG and TCG is massive, and even the difference between China and Japan. So, two different countries, and their deck building is completely not the same. Look at this, man. You can see a lot of difference. Like, this one has Diviner and a Bisted monster, and also only one trap card. This one still has Gravekeeper's Trap. It has triple tactic talents, the continuous spell at 2, no Diviner of the Heralds, etc. So yeah, completely different. And yeah, because of the fact that you play Diviner of the Heralds, the Elder Entity Entis can be sent, and you now have a level 6 tuner monster that you can easily summon. So might as well summon Baron, because all you really need is Diviner and a level 4 monster, and that's it, that's all. So yeah, the rest of the deck list I can definitely agree on and understand, and this is the super spicy tech that I will be covering right now. Tackle Crusader is a card that we have last seen in the Emancipator format, because people were going IP Masquerena, link off the Tackle Crusader, as well as the Masquerena for like Unicorn or Appaloosa, and then they were triggering the Graveyard effect of Tackle Crusader to Book of Moon, an opponent's monster. Now, this will not be the same for us in the TCG, because, well, sorry, well, I mean, right now in this format, well, the format that we're going to be getting, this deck does not use Tackle Crusader that way. IP Masquerena is not even being played. Basically, you just mill it on your opponent's turn and you Book of Moon, so it's just an interruption. And on your own turn, I guess it's just a discard for, like, your Ishizu cards and stuff like that. It's an Earth monster, so you might as well. I guess it has inherent synergy there. Being cited at 3, very, very, very interesting. Wow. And again, the Bisted monster that searches a dragon from deck or graveyard to hand on end phase. Ridiculously good card. Pancratops, Zuking Alpha. Notice how the Earth attribute is gaining so much in popularity. So many Earth monsters are good. Like Pancratops, Zuking Alpha, and Xatrila Fenrir basically belong all in the category of big beaters that just, like, do a lot of things inherently. And they're all inherent summons, if I recall correctly. I think they are, yeah. So, you know, the fact that you can revive all those monsters from your opponent's graveyard with Ossa is huge. Now, this deck list does not have Ossa in the extra deck, which, I don't know, I think I'm gonna have to disagree with. Ossa is a little too good to pass on, but at the same time, the extra deck space is a little more tight because Diviner of the Heralds actually takes 2 slots in the extra deck. And yeah, less high-impact cards in a way, no Evenly Matched, no Lightning Storm, no Duster, only 2 Cosmic Cyclone and 2 Call by the Grave, which I never see anyone citing. Usually people only main deck Call by the Grave or they don't play it at all. And 2 Sphere Mode, which I think is a general consensus that people want to play Sphere Mode in the side deck. Now for the Spright deck list, this is always the same. It's always Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword, the Turbo, always with the Nimble cards, because Diva is garbage since you can get your Diva milled if you're playing against Tearlaments, because your own cards also get milled with the Shizu cards. So you want to play the Nimble cards because they revive back from the grave as well, on top of summoning from the deck. And another thing is that you can mail the Nimble Angler and summon 2 Beavers from the deck. So Spright Sprint makes this even better. And you can also technically play Foolish Burial as a way to get started. Summon 2 monsters, go for Gigantic Spright, full combo, without even having to rely on your normal summon. So that's actually a really cool play that you can do, but nobody's playing Foolish Burial. Now, Pixies and Gamma Burst are both being played and pretty much always staples in the OCG, whereas in the TCG, it's not the case. Most people right now are considering Pixies somewhere, at least as like an idea or potential idea, whereas Gamma Burst, people actually all believe that it's garbage. And the rest of the deck is very just, I don't know, it's good, but it's not insane. Onyinimaru Soul Sweeper, no Sky Cavalry Centauria, very interesting, so your Zeus might be a little harder to summon. And then after that, yeah, nothing of particular, you know, value. Underworld Goddess, interesting. D-Shifter, Pointer of the Red Lotus, 1 Zuking Alpha, 1 Pancratops, no Kshatrila Fenrir. Triple Lightning Storm, again, people love this card, but I think Evenly is better. This card is like the monster that actually steals when you have like a Spright, Xyz, or Link monster or something like that. We also have Vernalizer Adamantipator, but that deck doesn't really exist in the TCG. Without Block Dragon, Adamantipator will never really become like tier 0.5 again. That's just not gonna happen. But this deck is actually really disgusting in the TCG. Sorry, in the OCG if you don't really get Max Seed. I don't really see how you lose, man. This deck has gas for freaking days. And the Vernalizer cards are really cool, really interesting. And finally, we have another Ishizu Tearlaments deck, which only plays 1 Shop card. And will you look at this, man? That Shop is 1 Salic. So, it really confirms what I actually thought. Nobody in China, really, that is doing well is playing Gravekeeper's Trap. And everybody, China and Japan, are cutting Exchange of the Spirit. So people are actually sacrificing power for consistency because they're just getting sick and tired of always drawing Exchange of the Spirit, and that is definitely understandable. And yeah, the other deck list, I mean, Spright, don't really care about that. Vernalizer, Adamantipator, Ishizu Tearlaments, and Ishizu Tearlaments again with Regeki inside. Beatrice in the extra deck. This is very cute because you can make Beatrice using 2 Bisted Monsters. So if you play a very high count of Bisted Monsters, you can get your engine started with Beatrice. Definitely don't sleep on that possibility. However, it does take 1 slot in your extra deck, and you very specifically need either Diviner of the Heralds or, you know, a Bisted Monster. So it's like a 2-card combo, or, you know, I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do, because if you resolve this monster on your opponent's turn, on the end phase, you search for the other Bisted, and then you summon it, and then you make Beatrice, and you can even send Kelbeck or Agidos, mail 5 cards, potentially mail double Tearlaments, make 1 or 2 fusions, and completely demolish your opponent. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about this meta in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.